Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon when you are watching this video lecture. After the conceptual and theoretical understanding of Accounting Standard 2, that is valuation of inventories, let us solve some of the questions related to this accounting standard, numerical questions. Most of them were given in the past examinations. But I would like to once again remind you, before answering these questions, first of all, you should have become thorough with the conceptual and theoretical aspects of AS2, then only solve these questions. Don't try to just solve the numericals without the conceptual clarity on AS2. So let us move on to problems related to AS2. Question number 1 says, the cost of a partly finished unit at the end of 2015-16 is 1,30,000. That is cost. So let us keep that aside. Cost was 1,30,000. Then the unit can be finished next year by further expenditure of 1 lakh rupees, and the finished unit can be sold for 2,50,000 rupees. That is the final sale value, but that is subject to a payment of 5% brokerage on selling price. Compute the value of inventory. So what is the principle that we have to apply? Always cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. Okay, cost we know already, that is 1,30,000. Let us find out net realizable value. What is net realizable value? That is sale value possible, that is 2,50,000 minus brokerage 5%, and that comes to how much? 2,50,000 into 5% means 12,500 brokerage, also minus the expenditure further that will be incurred to complete this product, that is 1 lakh. So deduct that 1 lakh also. What we get is net realizable value. So 2,50,000 minus 5% minus 1 lakh, that comes to 1,37,500. So cost 1,30,000, net realizable value 1,37,500. So naturally, what should be the value of inventory that should be taken at the end of the year? That is whichever is lower, that is cost. So the final answer for this question will be 1,30,000. That's it. Then second question. X Company Limited purchased goods at a cost of 40 lakhs rupees in October 2010. Until March 2011, 75% of the stocks were sold. Expected sale value is 11 lakhs and a commission at the rate of 10% on sale is payable to the agent. Advise what is the correct closing stock to be disclosed at the end of the financial year. Once again same. First of all, what is the cost of the inventories that is lying at the end of the year? First you have to be careful in reading the question. They purchased goods at a cost of 40 lakhs, but they sold already 75% of the stock. That means only 25% is remaining. You cannot take 40 lakhs as cost. That was purchase. We want inventories or closing stock. So closing stock will be how much? Only 25% naturally, because 75% was sold already. So 25% of 40 lakhs, 1/4, that will be naturally 10 lakhs rupees. That is the cost of these goods. Then naturally we have to also calculate net realizable value, same manner. What is the net realizable value? Expected sale value is 11 lakhs and deduct a commission at the rate of 10% here. So 10% on 11 lakhs will be naturally 1,10,000 rupees. So deduct that 11 lakhs expected sale value minus 10%, that comes to only 9,90,000 rupees. 9,90,000 rupees is net realizable value. So which is lower? Net realizable value is lower. We cannot take the value of closing stock at 10 lakhs. No, we have to take it 9,90,000 because that is lower. Cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. That's it. That was question number 2. Then question number 3. You are required to value the inventory per kg of finished goods consisting of these costs given. Material cost is there 200 rupees per kg of finished good, and direct labor cost and variable overhead, which is conversion cost 40 plus 20. Then fixed production charges for the year on a normal capacity of 2 lakhs kgs is 20 lakhs rupees. So first of all, find out how much will be the fixed overheads per kg. 20 lakhs divided by 2 lakhs, that means 10 rupees per kg is going to be the fixed overheads or fixed production overheads. That's all. It's a simple question. Add all of them. So 200 plus 40 plus 20 plus 10. So what is the total of the cost of the finished goods? That is 270 rupees. 260 plus 10, 270 rupees. And how many number of kgs of finished goods are there in the stock at the year end? 4000 kgs of finished goods are there in the stock at the year end. So what is going to be the total value of closing stock, which is finished goods? 270 multiplied with 4000 kgs. That will give the final answer, that comes to 10 lakhs 80,000 rupees of closing stock of finished goods will be there at the year end. That's what is asked here. Finally, what is the inventory value per kg also? Total also we can calculate. Per kg it is 270, total is 10 lakhs 80,000. Straightforward question. Then question number 4. So question number 4 is that the company deals in 3 products A, B and C, which are neither similar nor interchangeable at the time of closing of its accounts for the year 2010-11, whatever it is. The historical cost and net realizable value of the items of closing stock are given as follows. Historical cost is given in lakhs, net realizable value is given in lakhs. We have to be careful. Can we total this historical cost and total this net realizable value, and then can we take it as if whichever is lower? No, that would be wrong. We have to take item by item. That's what accounting standard 2 tells us. So how to value this? Item by item. Item A, cost 40, NRV 28, whichever is lower, 28. Item B, both are same, so 32. Item C, cost 16, NRV 24, whichever is lower, 16. That's all. Total that. 28 plus 32 plus 16. So that will come to 76. That's all. That is the final value of the closing stock, 76 lakhs, that is. So whichever is lower has to be taken item by item basis, but not total basis. That has to be remembered from AS2. So total value of inventory at the end of the year that we should take to the financial accounts, financial statements, is 76 lakhs. That's it. That is question number 4. Then question number 5 is a little bit of a costing type question, but still we have to be able to solve that. In a production process, there is a normal waste of 5% of input. So normally the wastage is 5% of input, and 5,000 metric tons of input were put in the process, resulting in a wastage of 300 metric tons. So 5,000 tons, MT means metric tons, are inputted, but they resulted in a wastage of 300 metric tons. Let us first find out how much would have been the normal loss. Normal loss would have been only 5% of input, that comes to 250 metric tons. But the real loss is 300 metric tons, which means what? Normal loss is 250 tons, and naturally the remaining abnormal loss will be 50 tons. That is the total of 300 tons of wastage as given in the question. Cost per metric ton of input is 1000 rupees per ton. That is input cost. The entire quantity of waste is on the stock at the year end. State with reference to the accounting standard, how will you value the inventories in this case? So simple point. First of all, when it is normal loss, that will be absorbed by good units. First of all, how much is the total cost, that we should find out. How much is the total cost? 5,000 metric tons are inputted at a cost of 1000 rupees per metric ton. So 5,000 into 1000, which means 50 lakhs rupees is the total cost of input. That is okay. But what will be the cost per metric ton? We have to take only 4,750. Why? Because normal loss of 250 will be absorbed by good units. So 4,750 will be the denominator. So 50 lakhs divided by 4,750 will be how much? 50 lakhs divided by 4,750. That comes to approximately 1052.63. This is cost per metric ton. Now, how this has to be applied? That has to be applied in two ways. What is the value of inventories here? How much will be the value of inventories? Actual number of goods, how many metric tons of inventories are actually there? Actually, how many metric tons are there? Only 4,700 metric tons are there. That is closing stock. So 4,700 tons of closing stock multiplied with this 1052.63 whatever, that gives approximately 49 lakhs 47,368. That is the value of closing stock at the end of the period. Is it? Now basically this input was given 5,000, 4,700 is not necessarily in the stock. Okay, let us imagine if this entire input is whatever is there is still in the stock. It is not sold. In that case, the closing stock of finished goods will be this much, 49 lakhs 47,368. That is one aspect. But the cost incurred was actually 50 lakhs. But what is the remaining thing? That is the main point here. That is 52,632. That is abnormal loss. That should be charged to the profit and loss account. 52,632 is the abnormal loss. So if all the goods are not yet sold, if it is there as it is, how many goods are there? Actual units, only 4,700. Out of that, let us say, imagine 4,000 units are sold. That is not given, but if it is given, then we would have said 700 into 1052.63. That will be the value of closing stock in that case. But per unit, it is 1052.63 for sure. Then, abnormal loss is 52,632. You can even get it like this also. 1052.63 multiplied with 50 units of abnormal loss. Approximately that comes to also 52,632 rupees. This should be charged to the P&L account, though it is there at the end of the year. Entire quantity of waste is in stock at the end of the year. That will not be abnormal loss, will not be treated as stock. That will be charged to the profit and loss account. So that is the treatment of normal loss and abnormal loss. When certain percentage of input is given as normal loss, we have to find that out. And we have to find out the per unit cost by taking the total cost in the numerator, but in the denominator only taking input minus normal loss. That gives per unit cost. That will be used to distribute between finished goods as well as abnormal loss. Finished goods, if they are there, we don't know how many of these 4,700 are actually sold or how much are there in the inventory. Whatever the number may be. To some extent, whatever it is sold, it will be cost of goods sold, and to the extent it is there in the inventory, that will be the closing stock of inventory. But that will be done at a per unit or per ton cost of 1052.63. But 50 into 1052.63, abnormal loss of 52,632 will definitely be charged to the profit and loss account. That is the treatment for question number 5. Then question number 6. This was an examination question given earlier. Question number 6, Mr. Mehul gives the following information relating to the items forming part of inventory at the end of the year, whatever that year may be. His factory produces product X using raw material A. Okay, fine. What are the inventories at the end of the year? 600 units of raw material A is there, which was purchased at 120 rupees. That was the cost. Replacement cost at the end of the year was 90 rupees per unit. So we should take cost or replacement cost. That depends. When it comes to raw materials, you have to again refer to the standard. What the standard says? If the final output is possible to be sold at or above cost, we have to value the raw materials at cost. If the final product is going to be sold or contemplated to be sold at loss, then closing stock of raw materials also has to be valued at replacement cost, which is a better representation of the realizable value of it. So that is the standard, accounting standard 2, what it prescribes about raw materials. But we don't know the final product price yet. So just information is given. So cost is 120, replacement cost is 90. Number of units in stock at the end of the year is 600 units of raw material A. Then there is also 500 units of partly finished goods. What does it mean? Partly finished goods means work in progress. In the process of producing X, and cost incurred till date is 260 rupees per unit. And these units can be finished next year by incurring additional cost of 60 rupees per unit. If we incur that, those units will get completed. But as of now, so far the cost incurred on this WIP was 260 rupees per unit. Like that, 500 units are there. And what is the way to calculate value of work in progress? Same, cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. Finished goods also same, 1500 units of finished goods are there related to product X. Total cost incurred is 320 rupees per unit so far. So this is the data given related to 3 types of inventories. All 3 types are there in this question. Raw materials also there, work in progress also there, finished goods also there. But only point is how to value them according to AS2. For that we need further information. What was that given? Expected selling price of the product X is 300 rupees per unit. That is the first point. That means what? The cost of manufacturing product X was 320 and we are able to sell. We can sell it only at 300. So the final product is contemplated to be sold at loss. Which means, first of all, the raw materials should be valued at replacement cost rather than original cost. So what is asked here? Naturally, determine how each item of inventory will be valued as on 31st March 2015 and also calculate the total value of inventory. Of course, we are going to do that separately. So what are the various things? We can just take it like a table. Take like a table. Particulars. What are all there? First thing is raw material. In the exam, you have to write all full forms. Don't write like this. Raw material, work in progress, finished goods. That's all. That will be the inventories always. What was the cost of them? What is the net realizable value or replacement cost, as the case may be? And finally, whichever is lower has to be taken as the value of inventories. Then you have number of units anyway. Number of units. Then we have total value of inventories. Like this, in one table we can find out the answer for the entire question. So first let us take raw materials and work in progress and finished goods. For all of them, what was cost? Given in the question, all that you need to do is copy paste. What was the cost of raw material per unit? That was 120 rupees. What was the cost of work in progress per unit? That was 260 rupees cost incurred. Then what is the cost of finished goods per unit? Total cost 320 rupees. That is cost. Everything is given in the question. Don't total them, that will not give anything. Anyway, net realizable value or replacement cost for raw materials, as the case may be. So which one we should take? For raw materials, should we take original cost or replacement cost? We should take replacement cost according to AS2 because the final product is going to be sold at loss. That is why. What is the replacement cost? 90 rupees that is given in the question. That has to be taken here, which is a fair representation of net realizable value according to AS2. Then work in progress net realizable value you have to calculate. What is the net realizable value? Final sale value minus commission or brokerage, if any, selling expenses minus further processing cost. Final sale value is going to be 300. That is given already for the final product. Minus further processing costs are 60. No other selling expenses are given. Not given means not there. No problem. So 300 minus 60. Naturally, the net realizable value for work in progress will be 240. For finished goods, net realizable value is nothing but the saleable value minus expenses, but no expenses, so saleable value itself is 300. Whichever is lower we have to take. In all the three cases, whichever is lower is the same. That means 90, 240 and 300. Number of units are given in the question. 600, 500, 1500. So 600, 500, 1500. 600 units of raw material, 500 units of WIP and 1500 units of finished product. That's all. Value how to get? Just multiply and total. Do this one on paper. So 600 into 90, 600 into 90, 54,000. 500 into 240, that is 1,20,000. 1500 into 300, that is 4,50,000. Total is going to be 6,24,000, and that is the final answer. That's all. That is how the valuation of inventories happens according to AS2. Perfect question. Like these questions can be very well expected in the examinations. So, applying the concepts that we know already according to the provisions of accounting standards is what is expected in these questions. That was question number 6. Then moving to question number 7, that is also same like what we already solved, but this was also given in the exams earlier. Capital Cables Limited has a normal wastage of 4% in the production process during the year. Company used 12,000 metric tons of raw materials costing 150 rupees per metric ton. So 12,000 into 150 means how much? That is 18 lakhs rupees was incurred as cost of the materials that was inputted. But normal wastage is 4% means 12,000 into 4%. Ideally 480 metric tons should be the loss. But at the end of the year, 630 metric tons of wastage was in stock. Instead of 480, 630 was there. So how much is abnormal loss? That is 150 tons. That first of all we have to separately calculate. Normal loss is 480 tons. Abnormal loss is 150 tons. Total wastage was 630 tons. But once again, the accountant wants to know how this wastage is to be treated in the books. Explain in the context of AS2 the treatment of normal loss and abnormal loss, and also find out the amount of abnormal loss, if any. See, normal loss separately is not treated. There is nothing like that. It has to be absorbed by good units. So what will be the per metric ton cost here? 12,000 minus 480. So 18 lakhs divided by 11,520 will be the cost per metric ton. How much is that? 18 lakhs divided by 11,520. That comes to 156.25 per metric ton. Which means whatever the amount of actual goods are there in stock, they will be valued at 156.25. But what will be the value of abnormal loss? That will be 150 into 156.25 rupees. So 156.25 into 150 will give you around 23,438 rupees approximately after rounding it. So 23,438 rupees is the abnormal loss. The question is, the accountant wants to know how to treat it. That will be charged to the profit and loss account. That's all. Though it is in inventories, that will not be treated as inventories. That will be charged to the profit and loss account. That is a treatment of abnormal loss. That was question number 7. Normal loss, there is no separate treatment. The normal loss will be absorbed by good units automatically by inflating the price per unit of materials. That's what we did. Normally the original price was 150 per metric ton. But now after absorbing the normal loss also, the price or cost has become 156.25, which is inflating the price per metric ton by having a reduced number of units in the denominator, which is nothing but original input minus normal loss, that is 11,520 units. Cost is fact, that is in the numerator, which is 18 lakhs. So there is no separate treatment for normal loss, but still the loss will be absorbed by good units. If at all, in the question it is given that so many units are there in the closing stock. Let us say 10,000 units are already sold, and let us say remaining units. How many will be remaining? 12,000 minus 630 minus 10,000 means around 1370 units are still in stock. If that was the situation, just as an example, if it is given, then 10,000 into 156.25 will be charged to the cost of production, cost of goods sold, and 1370 multiplied with the same 156.25 will be the value of closing stock if that is given. But we don't know how many units are there in the closing stock, so we don't need to worry about that. We just have to calculate abnormal loss, that's all, which we already calculated. That is 23,438. That was question number 7. Now coming to question number 8. Calculate the value of raw materials and closing stock based on the following information. This is also a very possible question, perfect question that can be expected in the examinations, which was given in past exams also, and in recent RTPs also it was given. Read it carefully. Of course, there are two types of goods here if you observe. One is raw material X and finished good Y, and we have to think that raw material X is used for the purpose of finished good Y. So raw material X, what is the number of units closing? 500 units. Now we need to calculate what is the value of the raw materials in the closing stock and what is the value of finished goods which are there in the closing stock. For that we need to find out, as usual, cost or net realizable value for finished goods. In case of raw materials, they will be valued at cost if the final finished goods can be sold at total cost or more. If not, the raw materials has to be also valued at replacement cost. So we have to observe the facts according to the final sale value, but we'll all come to that later. But before that, look at the data that is given. Cost price including excise duty was 200 rupees per unit. Excise duty 10 rupees, on which the SENVAT credit is available on the excise duty paid. Okay, you can replace excise duty with GST, no problem. Just this also, this instead of excise duty say GST, and GST credit is available on the amount of GST that is paid. That's it, same thing. So whatever that is a tax which has been paid and which will be refundable from the government authorities, that should be excluded from the original price, because it is already included in 200. This 10 rupees has to be deducted. Freight inwards should be added, unloading charges should be also added. After doing all this, how much is the cost of this raw material X per unit? 200 minus 10 plus 10 plus 20, that means 220 is the cost per unit of each raw material X. Replacement cost is given in the question. We will take it only when if finished goods will be sold at loss, but we will come to that later. First of all, we know now what is the cost of the raw materials. You have to do this as a working note naturally and show this calculation in your answer. Now coming to the finished goods, closing balance number of units is given anyway, that's okay, 1200 units, but cost per unit is also given. Material consumed is 220, direct labor is 60, direct overhead, there will be nothing called a direct overhead. Let us understand that as variable overhead. The essence what they wanted to convey is variable overhead. So the variable overhead is 40 rupees per unit. Fixed overheads total for the year was 2 lakhs rupees on a normal capacity of 20,000 units. So 2 lakhs divided by 20,000 units. Fixed overheads will be taken per unit how much? Naturally 10 rupees. Take all the total, that's all. 220 plus 60 plus 40, 100. That means 320 plus 10, 330. This is the cost of finished goods. So cost of raw materials was 220. Cost of finished goods Y is 330. That is cost details which are given. That we have to compare with NRV and also see whether raw materials have to be valued at cost or at replacement cost. That depends upon what? That depends upon the NRV of finished goods, and there are two cases which are given. What if the NRV of the finished good is 300 rupees and what if the NRV of finished goods is 400 rupees? Both are different cases. Then naturally the applicable provisions also will be different. So let us take one by one. What if the NRV of the finished goods is 400 rupees? So if it is 400 rupees, which is definitely higher than the cost. That means the finished goods are going to be sold at a profit. That means raw materials have to be just valued at cost as usual. So what will be the value then? 500 units of raw material. Units are same always. 500 units of raw material are there. That will be valued at cost, not at replacement cost, because finished goods can be sold at profit. So that is 220 rupees is the cost. So 500 into 220, that comes to 1,10,000. That is the value of raw materials stock at the end of the year. What about finished goods stock? First take number of units, that is 1200 units given in the question. In the question it is given 1200 units closing balance. So 1200 units multiplied with here cost or net realizable value, which is lower. Net realizable value is going to be 400, cost is 330. So naturally at cost, which is lower, that is 330. So 1200 into 330, that will be 3,96,000. So the total value of the closing stock, in case the final net realizable value of finished goods is going to be 400, if that is the case, what is the value of closing stock totally? Raw material plus finished goods. There is no work in progress here. So only raw materials and finished goods are there. Total is how much? 5,06,000. That's it. That is one scenario where final finished goods can be sold at 400 rupees. Then let us look at another scenario where the finished goods can be sold at 300 rupees. Then what? Then also number of units will be the same, 500 and 1200. Only thing is at what price we have to value them. Look at raw materials. We have to value them at cost or replacement cost. According to AS2, they have to be valued at replacement cost because the final product is contemplated to be sold at loss. So replacement cost is a better measure. So 150 rupees is what we have to multiply this 500 units with. And same way for finished goods also. Cost 330, realizable value, net realizable value is 300. Whichever is lower now? Lower is 300, not 330. So multiply 1200 with 300. That's all. You will get whatever the value of closing stock is. In that scenario, both are different scenarios. Both will not happen at same time. So 75,000 and 1200 into 300. 3,60,000 and 75,000. Total is 4,35,000. That is the final answer. In case the final goods, finished goods can be sold at only 300 rupees net realizable value. So that is how two different values will emerge under two different circumstances. This is a very important type of question which can be expected in the exams, which was given in exams also. That was question number 8. Then moving on to question number 9. More or less similar questions what we have already done. At the end of the year on 31st March, a business firm finds that cost of a partly finished good or unit on that date is 530 rupees. Okay, that is cost. That was given in the question. That is cost 530. The unit can be finished in next year by incurring additional expenditure of 310. Finished goods can be sold at 750 subject to a payment of 4% brokerage. Same way. So 750 minus 4%. 4% will be 30 rupees. And also deduct further processing cost, additional expenditure of 310. So how much is going to be the net realizable value here? 410 rupees. That's all. Cost was 530. Net realizable value is 410. The firm seeks your advice regarding the amount at which unfinished unit should be valued while preparing final account. So should it be valued at 530 or 410? It should be valued at 410 because that is lower. Cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. Simple logic. Always the same logic. In this case, net realizable value is lower, so the inventory is at the end of the year should be valued at 410 rupees per unit. That's all. That is question number 9. Then question number 10 also is similar to what we have done already. Best Limited deals in 5 products, P, Q, R, S and T. Only number of units, number of types of products have increased, which are neither similar nor interchangeable at the time of closing the accounts at the end of 31st March 2011. The historical cost and NRV are given. All that we need to do is what will be the value of closing stock for the year ending 31st March 2011 as per AS2. So once again same thing, we should not total the historical cost and net realizable value, rather we should take whichever is lower. So I am just going to highlight that whichever is lower, that's all, and we can just take it. So in this case, P, item P, which is lower, 4,75,000 is lower. Item Q, 9,80,000 is lower. Item R, 2,89,000 is lower. Item S, both are same, anything can be taken. Item T, 1,60,000 is lower. Take the total of all these things, 4,75,000 plus 9,80,000 plus 2,89,000 plus 4,25,000 plus 1,60,000. Total will be 23,29,000. That's it. That is the answer for question number 10. Of course, you have to show all this as a statement. Historical cost, net realizable value, copy paste, whichever is lower you take, total them, show it in a table. Then you get 5 marks for this. Just by taking 23,29,000, you will not get 5 marks. I told the presentation already. First, you have to take the facts of the case which are given in the question in the form of a table. Also, you can do that. Then apply the concept, and you have to write that what you have applied also. As per AS2, the comparison of historical cost and net realizable value has to happen on item by item basis. Hence, for each of these items, we have to take lower of historical cost or net realizable value. So for P it is 4,75,000, for Q it is 9,80,000. Like this, one by one you should write. Then total, then the total is 23,29,000. Then conclusion. From the above computations, the value of closing stock for Best Limited for the year ending 31st March 2011 as per AS2 is 23,29,000. Like this, you should write more. You should elaborate your answer wherever required. Not to just fill the papers, but meaningful answer, a structured answer will get better marks. That was question number 10. Then coming to question number 11. This was given in one of the RTPs recently. Opening inventory of finished goods was there 1000 kgs with a cost of 25,000 rupees. Raw materials was 1100 kgs with a cost of 11,000 rupees. Purchase also happened 10,000 kgs of naturally raw materials for 1 lakh rupees. Labor is 76,500. Overheads is 75,000 rupees. That is fixed overheads. Sales are 10,000 units or kgs, we can say, at 2,80,000 rupees. So closing inventory of raw materials is also given and finished goods is also given. Both are given. The expected production for the year was 15,000 kgs of finished product. Expected production. But actual production how much? That you can find out. Actual production is how much? Opening stock of finished goods 1,000 kgs, right? Plus actual production we don't know, minus closing stock of finished goods will be equal to 10,000. So how to get production? 10,000 sales plus closing stock of finished goods 1,200 minus opening stock of finished goods 1,000. So actual production is only 10,200 kgs. So first thing we can find out production. Actual production how much? Actual production is 10,200 kgs of finished goods. That's all. And what was the normal capacity? Normal capacity was, our expected production was 15,000 kgs of finished product. So when the actual production is less than what was expected or normal, so what should we consider? We should just consider the finished products or the fixed overheads on the basis of the normal capacity only. We don't know the normal capacity. Since it is given that expected production is 15,000 kgs, we can take that as if it is normal capacity. But whatever it is, the point is the finished goods or the factory overheads, which are fixed overheads, have to be taken per unit or per kg on the basis of normal capacity. So definitely in this case, actual production is not more than normal capacity, that is for sure. If the actual production is more than normal capacity, then we have to take actual production as the basis. That's what is given in AS2. Since it is not the case, we can take normal capacity as the basis. which we don't know. That is why we can take 15,000 as if it is the normal capacity, no problem. So that means how much will be the fixed overheads per kg? 75,000 rupees divided by 15,000 kgs. So 75,000 rupees divided by 15,000 kgs, that will be 5 rupees per kg fixed overheads. Like that we can take. Now, coming to other things like raw materials and other labor and other costs. See, first of all, when we have this production of 10,200 units finally, what will be the raw materials consumption cost that we can find out? So what is the raw materials consumption exactly going to be? Number of kgs wise, we know that opening inventory of raw materials was 1100 at the rate of 11,000 and purchases was 10,000 kgs at the rate of 10 rupees, that means 1 lakh. So both per kg raw material cost was 10 rupees, that is for sure. So raw material cost is 10 rupees per kg, we can say. That is given already, 10 rupees per kg. But number of raw materials kgs which are consumed can be also found out. How many raw materials would be consumed? 1100 opening stock plus purchases 10,000 minus closing stock of raw materials is 900. Once again same, which exactly comes to 10,200 kgs of raw materials. So 10 into 10,200 kgs of raw materials, that will be 1,02,000 naturally. That is the total cost of raw materials. Same way for labor, we already have the total number 76,500. Same way we have fixed overheads, you can include 75,000 also, entire amount, or you can take per unit of 5 rupees also. But first let us take other two things. So 1,02,000 plus 76,500, total prime cost how much? 1,78,500. Over how many units? Over 10,200 units. That means 17.5 is what? The cost of materials and labor. 17.5. Add fixed overheads 5 rupees, that will give 22.5 is the total cost of finished goods manufacturing production that has happened. So that is the cost of production, 22.5 per kg of finished goods. But what we have taken as fixed overheads is same per unit cost as if we are taking 75,000 divided by normal capacity 15,000. That is one way of doing it, which is correct in accordance with AS2. Or if you just take 1,78,000 plus 75,000 divided by 10,200 units, then it will be different. Then it will be overrated. That's why 22.5 is correct as far as cost of production is concerned. That much is cost of production of finished goods during the year. From the data that is given, we can find it out. Now point is, due to the fall in market demand, the sales price for finished goods was only 20 rupees per kg and replacement cost for raw materials was 9.5 rupees per kg on the closing day. You are required to calculate the closing inventory as on that date. So we have computed the cost of finished goods 22.5 per kg, but the realizable value is only 20 rupees per kg, which is lower. 20 rupees is lower. So find out each of them separately. First of all, raw material, finished goods. Raw material, how many kgs are there at the end of the year? Closing inventory 900, finished goods 1200. Okay, fine. 900, 1200. Raw material, should we take cost or replacement cost? We should take replacement cost because the finished goods are going to be sold at loss. That's why we should take replacement cost, which was given as 9.5, already given in the question. So take 9.5. Finished goods, should we take 22.5 or 20? Whichever is lower, we should take 20. So finally, what is going to be the value of total value of inventories? 900 into 9.5, 1200 into 20. Total is 32,550 is going to be the value of inventories at the end of the period. The number of units are given here, 900 and 1200. For raw materials we have taken replacement cost, for finished goods we have taken realizable value, net realizable value, because that is lower than its cost. That's it. 32,550 is the correct answer for question number 11. Then moving on to question number 12, which is also a very similar question to what we have already done. A Limited is engaged in manufacturing of chemical Y, for which raw material X is required. The company provides with the following information for the year ended 31st March 2017. Look at the raw materials data. Cost price is 380. Unloading charges 20. Should we add or not? Yes, we should. Freight inwards is 40. Should we add or not? Yes, we should. So these three put together, how much is the total cost of raw materials? That can be visible there itself. 440. Replacement cost is 300 only. Then coming to output, that is Y, that is finished goods. Material is 440 as we already calculated. Direct labor is 120 and variable overheads is 80. Total fixed overhead was 4 lakhs rupees total on a normal capacity of 20,000 units. That means 20 rupees is per unit fixed overheads we have to take. Total of all this, simple. So 440 plus 120 plus 80 plus 20. Total of all this will be 660. That is the total cost of finished goods. Raw materials total cost is 440. Finished goods total cost is 660. But how many units of raw materials are there at the end of the year? Raw material X was 1000 units. Finished goods chemical Y was 2400 units. That is at the end of the year. You are required to calculate the total value of closing stock of X and Y according to AS2 when the net realizable value of chemical Y is 800 per unit or when the net realizable value of chemical Y is 600 per unit. Both the cases are different. So in what case we have to take original cost of the raw materials when the final product can be sold at or above cost, which is the first case. So once again, let us look at the first case, first scenario, where the net realizable value of chemical Y is 800 per unit. In that case, raw materials, finished goods of course will be there. Number of units, first write that 1000 and 2400. Raw materials are 1000, finished goods are 2400 units. Fine. Multiplied with what? Raw materials can be multiplied with its cost only, no need of replacement cost because final product can be sold at profit. So original cost of raw materials we know already, that was 440, which comes to 1000 into 440, that is 4,40,000. Then 2400 into what? Finished goods, how to value that? Cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. Cost was 660, net realizable value was 800, which is lower. Naturally 660 is lower. So 660 multiplied with 2400 units, that will give you 15 lakhs 84,000. Total value of inventories in this case will be 20 lakhs 24,000. That's it. That is the answer in first scenario where net realizable value is more than the cost of finished goods. What about second scenario? Same thing. Once again, raw material will be 1000 units, finished goods will be 2400, but with what we will multiply, that will change. In case of raw materials, in this scenario we have to multiply that with the replacement cost because the finished goods are going to be probably sold at loss. So raw materials have to be valued at replacement cost, which was given in the question as 300. So take that here. So 1000 into 300. 2400 into what? Once again, cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. Now which is lower? 660 cost, 600 net realizable value. Lower will be 600. So multiply this with 600. Then do the total. You will get the answer in second scenario. So 1000 into 300, 3 lakhs plus 2400 into 600, 14 lakhs 40,000. The total will be 17 lakhs 40,000 in that scenario. So the valuation of inventories is completely different in two different cases because of the provisions of AS2 say that materials should be valued at replacement cost if the final product is going to be sold at loss. That is a very important provision that we have applied here and calculated the value of closing stock using that provision. That's all. These are some of the questions which were given in past exams and RTPs, etc. Most of these questions similarly can be expected also in the main examinations, always possible. So practice these questions well. But once again, always be mindful of the fact that accounting standards questions do not have any kind of model. Any type of question can be asked. Why we are practicing these questions is probably a similar type of question might come, or maybe applying a similar type of concept that we already applied might have been the requirement in the questions that are going to be framed for the main exam. So actual examination questions may be completely different from this, but practicing these questions will make us ready for answering those questions which will appear in the main exam. That has to be kept in mind always. But still, thorough understanding of the standard itself and application of the standard in the numerical illustrations is what is required as part of preparation for any accounting standards questions. Since AS2 is one of those standards which can be having numerical questions, naturally we need to practice those numerical questions as well. That's it. With that, we'll conclude this session till we meet in another session related to another accounting standard. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you very much.